Hello, this is Shanku and welcome to chapter 9 of the microservices with Spring Boot tutorial. So in the previous chapter we talked about the API gateway and we saw the various uses of API gateway, and in this chapter we're going to take a look at how we can set up an API gateway for our microservices ecosystem. So this project is going to act as the API gateway inside our microservices ecosystem, and let's take a look at the POM for this project. And let's take a look at the dependencies for this project inside the POM. So we have Spring Cloud Starter Netflix Eureka client. So this project or this application is going to register itself with the Eureka discovery server, and we have Spring Cloud Starter Netflix Zuul. So this dependency is going to add the API gateway properties, or this dependency is going to make this application act as an API gateway for our microservices ecosystem. And then we have Spring Boot Starter Test. So that's all for the dependencies, and let's take a look at the Java classes for this application. So we have just one Java class, API gateway application.java, and inside this class we have the Spring Boot application annotation. So this is a Spring Boot application, and we have enabled Eureka client. So this application is going to register itself as a client to the Eureka server, Eureka discovery server, and we have enabled Zuul Proxy. So this project or this application is going to act as an API gateway. It's going to use Zuul to create an API gateway for our microservices ecosystem. And let's take a look at the application properties inside this project. So we have the application name as API gateway, and it would be running on port 9393, right? And apart from this, we have the discovery server, Eureka discovery server. So that's a different project, and we also have the configuration server set up inside a different project. So if you're not already familiar with configuration server, discovery server, and such other stuff, I would recommend you to take a look at the other chapters or the previous chapters in this series and get an idea about these components inside the microservices ecosystem. And we have this location service and product service. So location service would be internally called by product service. Product service is going to call location service and fetch the location details for a particular product, and this product service is a client facing API. So this product service would be exposed to the outside world, and different clients can consume this product service API as REST endpoints. So let's take a look at product service. So inside this class we have this controller, inside this project we have this controller package, and we have this product controller. So inside this we are calling the location service to get the location details. So we'll be using Fin client to call location service API or location service project inside our microservices ecosystem and get the location details for the particular product. And we'll be using Histrix. So if location service is not responding, or if we do not get the response for this method within 2000 milliseconds, we'll be falling back to this method and we'll be returning a default product. We'll be setting up a default location and we'll be sending out a default product, right? And let's take a look at the location service API. So this is a very simple REST API, a Spring REST API, and we have the REST mapping, REST controller, and refresh scope annotation on top of this class, and it basically has this endpoint which sends out the location details, and this location service would be using the configuration server to load the properties from a Git repository. So these properties, server.port, city, zip, and street, would be read from a Git repository, which essentially holds the property files for this project. That is again distributed configuration, and if you're not already familiar with distributed configuration, I would recommend you to take a look at the chapter in which I talk about distributed configuration. So let's start up all these applications and see how they work. So first I would start up the Eureka server project, run as Spring Boot app, and I would start up the configuration server, run as Spring Boot app. So in this chapter we're going to basically take a look at how we can use the API gateway, the Zuul Proxy API gateway for routing. And I would start up API gateway, Spring Boot app, and start a product service. So let's have 2 instances of product service. Run as, run configurations, select product service, go to arguments. Let's keep the port as 8877. Click on run, and let's start up another instance of product service. So I'm going to right click, run as, run configurations, product service, go to arguments tab. Let's make it 8878 and click on run, and let's start up location service as well. So again we'll be having 2 instances of location service running inside the microservices ecosystem. So again right click, run as, run configurations, select location service, go to arguments. Let's keep it as 8285 and click on run, and let's start up one more instance. So again right click on location service, run as, run configurations, select location service, arguments. Let's make this 8284 and click on run. So let's open up our web browser and take a look at the Eureka server dashboard. So here we have our Eureka server dashboard, and we have the API gateway, the configuration server, the Eureka server, the location service, and the product service registered with the Eureka discovery server. And we can see we have 2 instances of product service registered with the Eureka discovery server, but we still have only 1 instance of location service registered with Eureka discovery server. So let's just refresh this. Okay, now we have both the location service APIs or location service instances registered with the Eureka server. So we're going to choose Postman to test our API. So we have the API gateway running on 9393, and we have the location service instances running on 8284 and 8285, and the product service running on 8877 and 8878. So we're going to call product service using the API gateway and not hit the direct URL for the product service. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Postman and use this URL. So location, we're going to say HTTP localhost 9393. So that's the port for our API gateway, and then we're going to say slash product service. So that is the name of the service with which the service is registered with the Eureka discovery server, and then we're going to hit the URL or the endpoint. We're going to call the endpoint, so that's API/v1/product, and let's click on send. So we have the response for our product service API, and we have the product name, product ID, and the location details, and this location details is being fetched from another API or product service is calling another API internally using fin client and calling this location service. Now if we take a look at this URL, this is the API gateway URL that we are using. So API gateway is running on 9393 port 9393, and we have two instances of product service 8877 and 8878, but we are not using any of those product service instances. We are rather calling the API gateway to call product service. So what the API gateway is doing is the API gateway is internally, the API gateway is basically balancing the load, and it uses a round robin mechanism by default to select the instances available of the service. And if we take a look at this location service, the port now is 8285, and let's click on send again. So this time it is 8284, and if we click send again, it is 8285, and again it is 8284. So fin client is internally choosing one of the instances, or it is doing a client side load balancing for the location service API to fetch the location details for this particular product. So that is how we can use API gateway, or that is how we can use Zuul Proxy API gateway to route our requests to the respective APIs inside our microservices ecosystem. And that is all for this chapter. And in the next chapter, we're going to take a look at the different filters that are available for our Zuul Proxy API gateway. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did enjoy, please give it a thumbs up, and thanks for watching.